What's going on, guys, and welcome back to Footy with an Edge. We're back again with breaking news. I just launched the video of my reaction to us going out of the FA Cup, and here we are again. Like, apparently, Carrick has been confirmed. This is a pretty credible source in Stephen Housen. I don't think he'd be going live with this if he wasn't. Right, so this is breaking news. I guess we have Carrick confirmed, and most of the people on this channel are probably happy that we did go with Carrick. So here we are, and I want to hear your guys' reactions. Right? I mean, we had a few people waiting already for the show when it even started. So get your thoughts in the comments below, man. And honestly, let me start a poll here as well. Are you happy with Interim? And let's see what you guys think, right? But I have a lot of information to share with you guys, and I have a special guest who's going to help me break through this news and just understand how Ineos do their decision making, because we have our very own Shaylin joining the channel. Shaylin, you're looking resplendent. You're looking extra happy. Is this the choice that you recommended the Ineos to make?
Yes, out of the two options I think that we had between Ole and Carrick, yeah.
This is what your analysis concluded.
Yeah, I think from a consistency, or I guess not necessarily consistency, but from a standpoint moving forward, we've seen what Ole has done. We've seen what Carrick has done outside of the club as well.
Why are you out of breath, bro? We were talking 2 seconds ago.
I don't know, I just ran downstairs to get some something to drink, so I ran back up. Yeah.
All right,
but yeah,
he's living the good life. All right.
Yeah. Just quickly though, before as we kind of like dive into it a little bit, I think it's a smart appointment for us to make, especially when we think of it from like a forward-facing perspective. It shows that we don't necessarily want to dwell on the past a little too much. And while I know Ollie's been a legend,
I can't get over the fact that you're out of breath, bro.
Because I don't run up the steps, you know. Like,
I think this is a good appointment. I think this is a great choice.
But okay, yeah. So that's where that's where I'm at with it. But we can talk more through it. You know, give me a second, catch my breath, right?
This is great, guys. This is such good news that he can't contain himself. Okay, that's not him being out of breath. That can was there when we were speaking 2 minutes ago. He's just lying. But anyways, we got lots of stuff to cover. Okay, I've done some digging. Shaylin's not the only investigative reporter here. We also got some skill sets in AI that can do the work for me. But basically, I did read through some articles of that were written about Carrick doing the job at Middlesbrough, and I do have some interesting points to go through, right? So the first thing that we need to get out of the way is why Carrick and why now? Because Michael Carrick is, not official yet, but pretty much been confirmed as the interim head coach of United. This is not a long-term appointment. It's a stabilizer type of role. The club priorities appear to be just calming the environment, reducing the downsides of the season, if that makes sense, and restoring some basic structure, having some basic tactics, and avoid any emotional extremes. Now, Carrick fits what United want right now because he's trusted internally. Let's not forget he coached 24 games under Jose Mourinho, and then did most of his other games under Ollie, and then obviously famously has a 100% coaching record as a United coach in the 3 games that he coached, right? So he's also non-confrontational with the hierarchy. He's going to be, basically a company man, and he's not going to demand radical squad upheaval mid-season. Now, Shaylin, question for you. In terms of Michael Carrick, what is the vibe you're getting from this appointment? Is this the type of appointment that kind of appeases both the fans and the bosses?
Yeah, I think well, first let's address like a point, right? There's been, I think, some comments that I've already seen on the on the channel a bit where people are a little wondering, like, oh, is Stephen Housen really like a credible source for us, or like, like Mike Keegan and things like that. A lot of the journalists are reporting that Carrick is kind of the leading front runner. To me, it feels like probably certain details just necessarily haven't been maybe ironed out, especially around like the contract. So they haven't gotten full faith or full confidence to say, yes, this is the person like that, like is like going to move forward. There's also a little bit of estimation on our part too, right? To say that Steve and Halson wouldn't necessarily go on with like a YouTube title like that and then say what he did inside of the video.
But yeah, he's also not saying Luis Enrique is the interim, right?
Yeah,
he's
exactly.
He's saying one of the two names that we kind of knew were going to get picked. And Michael Carrick also seems like the more sensible choice right now because it avoids any of the emotional baggage without the issue of like, oh, can Ollie do it without Carrick behind the scenes? Because they made it clear they didn't want to do it together.
Yeah, exactly. So I think there's that. Now for the appeasement for fans and appeasement for maybe the United hierarchy, if we can put it that way. I think for the fans is something that out of the two names that we were kind of like really considering, this feels like a more progressive appointment. And it feels like one in probably the style of football that we would personally prefer to see. Right? I think we've seen what Ollie's likes to play. And I know last night we had a really stringent Ollie defender. But let's just not forget the fact that the last, run of games under Ollie, I think it was like last 8 or last 9, we lost all of them except for the one against Spurs, right? And so it was pretty dire towards the end that was there. So I think from the fans' perspective, it shows progression. For the management that's there, it's a bit more, I will say, of kind of giving him a bit of a test run before you seriously look to consider him for maybe, that full-time or that permanent role. And this puts him in an environment where there's absolutely no pressure. At least in my mind, there isn't any pressure for him. I don't think that the media will be on his back as much. I think from their perspective, they'll be like, United has already written the season off. If they hadn't, they wouldn't have sacked Amarim. A lot of the fans kind of feel that way too. So from the fans, I think he'll get a little bit of an easier of a go. Now, if he loses, games in a row and something like that, then that can definitely change. But the pressure seems to be a bit lower. I think it's from the player side too. It's somebody that they already have seen, at least the majority of them, and somebody that they have probably have a relationship with, and especially with that leadership group that exists. They all have one.
Jalen, isn't there something to be said that United are always 3 bad results away from a crisis? Because some coaches, they get to a point where they're 1 bad result away from getting sacked or being in trouble, or 2 bad results, right? Amarim towards the end was probably 1 bad result away, and Ollie before he got sacked was 1 bad result away. That's how it goes. But I think the buffer window is just 3 games. Like if we get battered by City and Arsenal in his first 2 games, and who do we even play after that? Because those are the 3 games I'm in India for. So this is gonna be fun. Hold on. We're playing City, Arsenal, and then Fulham, right? At home. So it's 2 home games and 1 away game. And for those 3 games, like we could be in a situation where we lose all 3 of them, and that's how Carrick kicks off his career. So I don't think that's going to happen, but I don't think anyone can say there's a 0% probability that we lose 3 games.
Right.
So,
and I think he's going to get the benefit of the doubt a bit here, right? You're coming in, you probably have a different, like an idea of what it is that you want to play. And maybe it doesn't necessarily translate across right away to the players, which is fine, right? But I also think he's going to try to play it safe in those games. I don't think he's looking to make any types of risks. And, judging by how he was as a midfielder, right? Like he would only make a calculated risk if he felt like there was a higher chance of success of it pulling through rather than like, a failure. He's not like Bruno in that sense where he'll try almost anything. So yeah, even if he does go, let's say, you could say, hey, we're three bad results into a crisis. But, we've seen managers at this club lose their first 2-3 games, right? I think Ten Hag, what was it? He lost the first 2 or the first 3 before the Liverpool result at Old Trafford, where he managed to turn around, but it forced the board to sign players in that sense. And maybe that's kind of like what we see. But Ten Hag also, just started off the season fresh, and this was after summer. He came in and whatnot, and this is kind of where you saw in the first 2 games what he was trying to do, but then very quickly relinquished it. in that third game against Liverpool. So yeah, that's why I think he'll get the benefit of the doubt.
I have some information here about his personality and leadership style. So from the reporting around Middlesbrough, his time at Middlesbrough, 3 traits come up repeatedly about Michael Carrick. The first one is that he is calm, but not passive, right? So players and staff consistently describe Carrick as calm, patient, and measured, that he doesn't shout, but he will stop sessions if he feels like standards are dropping. And Johnny Howson, who is a very senior player who played for Carrick at Middlesbrough, basically says he provides a calm environment off the pitch and demanding environment on the pitch. People also say he's got authority without ego. His status as a former elite midfielder matters, but he doesn't lean on it. But players still listen to him. So emphasis is on ideas of the game, collective understanding, and trusting players when they make the right decisions, even if the execution fails, right? So maybe he's going to be a fan of a player like a Diogo Dalot, right? Because he tries to do the right things. It just, the execution is sometimes off, which means he's likely to be an arm around the shoulder type of manager if you are trying. So I think there's a chance we can see a decent amount of improvement from Acuna, because Cunha is essentially the type of player that drives up from midfield with the ball. And a lot of the times his decision-making is suspect. Like, he doesn't release the ball at the same time. We saw him in this game as well. He tried to dribble like 6 players and score a wonder goal, right? And that's really not conducive to what it is. So I think his decision-making could potentially improve as well. Now, if we look at his style of play, and this is where it gets interesting, and I want your reaction to this, Shaylin. It's a bit of a doozy, long one, so let me just go through it. His base shape is a 4-2-3-1. The formation is a starting point. It's not really the identity. His shape morphs in possession to a 3-2-5 or a 3-3-4 in the attacking phase.
Repeat that.
Right? Yeah.
Like, just repeat that.
3-2-5 or 3-3-4 in the build-up phase, much like Ruben Amorim did. And the funny thing is, Ruben Amorim actually didn't play a 3 at the back when we defended, right? Defensive shape was actually 5-4-1 or 4-4-2, but this is what Carrick does. He does a 3-2-5 in build-up or a 3-3-4 in the attacking phase. And actually, a lot of the coaches do this. We even saw Ten Hag used to do this, right? He used to have a 3-1-6 or a 3-2-2-3. He used to have different types of build-up that he did with 3 at the back. And so it's a clear influence from like Barcelona / Xavi, from what I've read in terms of other people saying it, where it's a lot of positional play and it's rest defense. In possession, Carrick wants purposeful possession, control, not chaos, recycling the ball backwards to pull opponents out, not just for the sake of it. And fullbacks are used intelligently. So one of them tucks inside, one pushes high. That's what makes the back 3, right? And wide overloads and crossing remain important in a system. So there's some philosophies here that don't really tell us a lot while trying to tell us a lot, right? But essentially, it's a 4-2-3-1. Your reactions?
Yeah. You know, I think there's a lot of criticism that has been levied towards, I'll say, Jason Wilcox for wanting to have an influence in the way that the team plays, right? We won't get into like why he feels like his role needs to do that, but
I'm just gonna go get some water. You continue.
Yeah. But I think it's really important for us to see that the appointment of Carrick isn't necessarily one, I would say, is going to cause a lot of issues inside of the boardroom for that reason, right? Because it's a guy that Wilcox feels like he could probably work with and go from that, go from there. Now, in the beginning of Ineos's ownership and when they were starting to bring a lot of these folks in, I'd heard a lot about them wanting to have a 3 in possession, like a back 3 in possession. And that's probably what got them to want to go towards Ruben Amorim a little bit, because maybe if that's the system or the shape that you start out with, and that kind of can continue forward. So it's interesting that Carrick wants to build up that way, but a lot of coaches nowadays are looking to build up in that fashion too, like you had mentioned. I think it's just the way that the modern game has been evolved over time. we've seen Pep Guardiola do this quite consistently. We've seen, I've even seen Arsenal at times when they're trying to push forward for something, adopt this back three shape. So I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing.
Mhm.
I think what we'll need to probably assess a little bit more on is in Ten Hag, he left the midfield quite exposed, right? And it worked in the first season because of Casemiro's, I'll say, fitness, agility, and just the ability that he had to be able to cover. Now, Casemiro still has the ability to read and probably put himself into the best position as possible, but I don't think he has necessarily got the quickness to be able to get there, right? So there's that. So how will Carrick be able to adapt to that? We saw that, Ruben Amorim was, had found a way to do that with Casemiro early on in his United career. And that'll be really important for Carrick to be able to maybe look back at as a reference point to kind of go like, okay, hey, like, if this is the ideal way that I want to like play in terms of in a possession base, then what is it that I'm going to give up? Do we then see him, this, you mentioned this idea of like, he's a really like control oriented manager, right? And so like, it'll be really interesting for us to see kind of as it unfolds, especially against Arsenal and City, because that'll be like a direct test right away of what does he then think about when it's control in possession, and how is he then looking to set up. So I don't think the 3-2-5 that you had mentioned or the 3-3-4. I think that it might be a little bit closer to a 3-3-4 because he might prefer to have that extra man in midfield.
Or Shaylin, it's a 3-4-3.
It could be that, right? But that again,
getting closer and closer to a Ruben Amorim formation, which is I honestly sometimes I laugh because if Ruben Amorim hadn't made such a big deal about believing in only the three at the back so much, you would actually look at him. He could just fool people into being like, yeah, we play back four, and have the players start the first 2 minutes in a four at the back, and then Gary Neville's test is passed, right, and everybody's happy. But I think so. I think we won't understand almost anything about Carrick's tactics in the first two games because it's going to be highly specialized. Like I think both Carrick and Solskjaer with their assistants were already working on those two games, assuming that they got the chance. Because why wouldn't you, right? If I told you, you could potentially get a job and you have to start delivering right away, then you're probably going to start like prepping for it even before you get it, right? Because just in the off chance you do, you don't really want to be unprepared. So I think City and Arsenal are going to be very much low block. We probably play four at the back. And the key for me, Shaylin, is can he figure out a way to get Ugarte and Mainu or Ugarte and Casemiro to not vacate their position? If he can manage, he can figure out how they can be positionally disciplined. I feel like that's half the battle already won, because that is how our midfield keeps getting exposed in a four at the back. That's what Ten Hag struggled with. That's what Amorim struggled with at times when he had to play with those guys, but he had other issues as well because the whole team was trying to figure out how to play this more complex system. In a 4-2-3-1, it's really important that those two guys sit and don't really vacate their position too much. But that's specific to these City and Arsenal games because we probably don't press in those games much. I think we very much have to play like an Oliver Glasner style of like no pressing, sit in a mid block or low block and counterattack.
Yeah. Which will be like, I think frustrating to see a bit, right? Because you want to have United play, I'll say, with a little bit more character in a sense, right? Because like you're just like, no, you should be here to entertain. I think that's a really crucial element to the way that, or to what fans have fallen in love with over the years, especially under Sir Alex, right? Like to him, he felt like, there was a duty for them to entertain. I know Matt Busby also echoed it as well. Also, just as an aside, like I kind of just want to give a shout out to this guy, Lucky Singh 9851. In almost every chat, he just goes Ineos out, Glazers out before writing the actual message.
Yeah.
And so I just love that passion from him. So please.
He's got the green and gold emoji too every time.
He does.
I like
he's great. I love it.
He's a legend of the chat. He's single-handedly driving up the engagement for us. He's doing the job. You know, he's the captain on the pitch. You know what I'm saying?
He really is. He really is. So shout out,
I appreciate
Lucky.
you. I appreciate you, Lucky Singh. We both appreciate you. But moving on, to look at his key deficiencies, right? This is the stuff that kind of cost him his job at Middlesbrough. So he doesn't coach an aggressive high press. Middlesbrough allowed opponents to have 13 passes before defensive intervention. So like that's a PPDA stat, right? Which is not quite as high as Crystal Palace under Glasner, because they're at 19 or something like crazy like that. Like they're the worst pressing team in the league. But 13 passes is still pretty high. And I guess in the championship, I imagine you get more purchase out of pressing because the players are of worse quality, especially in the back line. So this is where he really struggled. And then the pressing is passive and it's block based. So maybe mid block, low block, and the front line often drops instead of jumping. Now, for me, this is a deficiency of his at Middlesbrough, but I think this actually bodes well for us with this team, right? Because in trying to press, like when you're pressing as a team, it's not just the job of the front line. It's actually all the players that are there, maybe outside of the center backs, if you're playing a four at the back, that really need to press, because you need the whole shape to compact and press. Like once you have the front three or front four pressing, if you don't have the midfielders jumping as well, then you leave lots of gaps between the lines of the team, right? So as soon as they beat the first line of press, then you have this ocean of space that they can just attack us in. Now, the problem has been under Ten Hag, for example, where we used to have the front four press, we used to have the two midfielders press, and then we had the two fullbacks just staying back. So as soon as they beat the midfield and the attack, they were just straight through onto the defense, instead of having the defensive line step up as well. So now we don't have to worry about any of that. And I actually, if Carrick doesn't want to press, then we could just play Maguire Delict and be good as our defenders.
I think the only reason that concerns me a bit is we want to see, or at least I would like to see, the players press, because it forces them to, one, stay really fit, but two, it also forces them to think in ways of how can we put the onus on the other team and always look to be dominant on the front foot, right? So while I get that the pressing has kind of left us a little bit exposed, I don't necessarily think that it's been a bad thing. And I think we saw it under Klopp in his first season when he came in. I know he came in partway through the season after Brendan Rodgers had gotten sacked. But he was almost looking to outscore opponents in a bit, right? And he didn't mind that the team was getting left exposed as a result of wanting to build that muscle of pressing into not only the players themselves as like this is the part of their identity, but a force like this hard work and this willingness to like almost like never give up, because that's what they would always default to, is that they would still be aggressive even in these moments. And to me, I think us being really intense in pressing and being really intentful in it is so that the heads drop a little bit less, right? Because if you're going to sit back and you're going to let them do something, and I've seen it time and time again this season, where there were times they expected the team to collapse and that they didn't, right? Like there was a lot of situations where I was just like, oh, we managed to fight back a draw. Right, or to keep a point here, or we managed to be able to keep a win here, even though we're getting battered. Like they're coming for us quite a bit, and I think that by and large had to do a lot with just our desire and our in wanting to be intense in the way that we approach the game and the way that we played. So I think that's my only concern around Carrick, is that.
So here's the thing, right, Shaylin? If we're playing a mid block or low block and we're not pressing, the profile requirements of the team change significantly, right? You need a different type of team. Hammer 8793 says he's going to play mid block. We don't have the athleticism in midfield to press. We will get killed in defensive transition. He will play for results. That's fair.
Yeah. I don't even disagree with it, right? Like I get it. It's just, I think for me, it's just,
no, you're expressing concern of
statement.
What happens. Yeah. So what I'm saying is, I don't even necessarily think Hammer was reacting to what we were saying. I think he just wanted to make a point. But I think so. Here's my point, right? If we play in a high pressing system, the center backs that we need are Aiden Heaven and Martinez, because both of them can pass, right, and progress the ball, and we want to keep the other team pinned as well. So even when we win the ball, we need somebody to be incisive with the passing. When you play a low block or mid block, you need defenders who are really good at box defending. So I actually won't be surprised if Delict and Maguire are both back. We start Delict and Maguire, because they're our best box defending midfielders. And when you're inviting that much pressure, you need somebody to keep winning balls and just finding the ball over the top as a pass. So that could be Maguire and Martinez as well. I think Martinez is okay as a box defender. Or maybe they just decide, listen, Heaven's been developing really well. Let's just play him and give him some confidence, play him next to a Maguire or a Delict to get him that experience, right? Because I think he can become a very good box defender. Certainly can win his headers and, has the physicality to do it. And then it also changes the requirements on our midfielders. Like, we don't need the legs anymore that we needed to cover large spaces, because when you're in a low block or mid block, you're going to be a lot more compact. You're going to sit tighter together, both between the lines and across the pitch. So do we see Bruno and Casemiro back in the midfield? I think that's a possibility. We could play a 4-4-2 with Ahmad and Mbumo, or Ahmad and Cunha on each side, and then Mbumo and Šeško as the two strikers, right? That's a possibility, with Xerxes and Mount coming off the bench, Menu and Ugarte coming off the bench. That's a total possibility.
I think
we could also play Bruno as false nine.
Yeah,
and then play Ugarte, Casemiro.
I think what you had mentioned, right? Like we saw a really good relationship start to develop between Bruno and Casemiro in that midfield. And, honestly, like, that playing in a 4-4-2, if we want to attack in a 4-4-2, wouldn't be a totally terrible idea, especially in these games with City and Arsenal. It gives us the opportunity to be able to bring in some of, the best players that we have onto the pitch, especially the most dangerous attacking players that we've got, right? Like, you have a position for almost each of them, bar Mount and Xerxes, but maybe we can find how to bring them on, right? And they can come in as a rotation option that still lets us, keep the baseline of the squad up too. But yeah, I don't see why we wouldn't go through that option. I feel like that's a bit of a smarter option to go through. And I think the reason why we're even discussing this in the whole first place, right, is because we're just interested in the way that, if Carrick is making these types of decisions, what does it showcase to us as the evolution of the team, at least in this phase, moving forward? And whether or not, like, is this a guy that, there's a potential for us to be able to have a project behind, right? Because I still don't think Ineos have ruled that out, right? In the at least in that idea.
No, I don't think they have either. And you know what? I'm going to be honest with you. I said this a long time ago, that I don't want Glasner to come to United, because it's very hard to win the league as a possession-based, without being possession-based, right? And Glasner, wherever he's gone, the highest possession he's had in a season is like 53, 54%. And if you want more than 2 points per game consistently, having more than 60% possession on average across a full season is the best way to do that, right? There's a clear correlation to that. And this is a graph, like, analysis done by the Athletic. So it's like, valid sources. So, but if I think about it now, Shaylin, it's kind of dumb to expect the next guy to just go win the league. That it was dumb for us to expect Ruben Amorim would come in and be the guy who won the league. Like, you first needed Ineos to find their voice. And I think going through this Amorim thing has fast-tracked their ability to find their voice in a way, right? Because now they know, okay, I don't want to do that, right? And so I think backing Carrick or whoever the next guy is going to be a mid-block type of soak up the pressure and be a transitional team that, is good enough to get top four. Because I think Oliver Glasner, with his system to play in this team, is good enough to get top four. The problem is, if you sign someone like Glasner, the expectation immediately is like, okay, go win the league. Whereas I think if Carrick does decently well till the end of the season, and we give him, let's say, one or two players, we keep improving the squad, the expectation on him may not be that heavy. And Ineos can probably just come out and say, like, listen, we maybe overestimated Project 2028. We're still going to try our best to get there. but this is the right guy for now to take us forward, and we're just going to try to win every game. You know, that classic, whenever you ask a coach, even Arteta, like if he's won the league in game 36 already, he'll be like, no, we're taking one game at a time, right? So that type of setting, right? I think that's going to be what makes sense to me, because I'm not opposed to it. Like, would I care if Carrick is the next guy? No. I just want them to get it right, and I want to hold them accountable. I can ask for whatever I want. I'm going to ask for a Ferrari and a Lamborghini every time I buy a United ticket. I'm not going to get it, and it's Ineos's decision to make, and they have to get it right.
Yeah, for sure. And you know, one of my coworkers says this. Steal from him. We want the Lamborghini tomorrow, but today we'll settle for a Lexus. Is Carrick the Lexus right now, right? Or was that Amarim? And then maybe we're trying to work our way up. Who knows? But that's the idea, right? Is that we are not only tempering expectations as a fan base, but I think
can I finish your analogy there? I think Carrick is probably a Model 3 Tesla. He's an electric car that's like, you know, part something for the future, but it's still the base model.
Okay, fair. Yeah. Who knows? I really hope not, man. That would be a bit disappointing to see on the pitch, at least. But yeah, no.
Listen, Model 3 is a good car. You still get the big tablet. You know, it's an electric car, right?
Yeah.
Good for the environment, so to speak.
Does it go far? I mean, I guess that's a thing, right?
Whatever the Model 3
right?
range is, right?
Yeah, whatever.
As long as you have a supercharger and you're in America, yeah, we'll go for as far as you want.
Yeah. So supercharging, you know, considered to be buying players, like that's the transfer spend.
Buying players would be souping up the Model 3.
Okay.
Right. You know, like putting some wings on it, like, you know, some decals,
making it flashy,
new tires. Yeah.
Okay.
And then I think Cybertruck is like, you know, once we get Baleba and Anderson, that would be the upgrade to Cybertruck.
Fair. Ed says in the chat, all you have to do is just give his team the ball. Yeah, that's true for every manager, right? Just give them the ball and
just
then
put the ball in the net.
Yeah,
you know, Michael Owen analysis, guys, from Ed. He's like, oh, you score more goals, you win games.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I have some more information here. So what should United fans be excited about, right? This is the real upside that we can look at from someone like Michael Carrick. And the excitement comes from this wonderful poster, by the way, that looks like he's going to save the earth. But essentially, Carrick has a strong track record of improving individuals. Hayden Hackney, by the way, there's this one guy, I think it's Just Cope. Every stream, he's like, Andy, what do you think about Hayden Hackney from Middlesbrough? He's like, best player in the championship. I think he's still at Middlesbrough. I don't know. Hold on. Hayden Hackney. Yes, he's still at Middlesbrough. He's 23 years old, and his FB ref looks fantastic. He's supposed to be the best player in the championship. 26 matches, 3 goals, 4 assists. So best midfielder at least. And very highly rated. And obviously, if you're playing that many games, you can adjust to the physicality of the Premier League, right? So Marcus Force is another player, and then Chuba Akpom, who had a massive jump in his output after going a little bit deeper. So I guess this guy's more of a striker. Let me just look at these players. You want to look at them together? Why not? Because whoever wanted Hayden Hackney, man, maybe you got your wish. Maybe we're just gonna treat Carrick like we did Ollie and just not give him every single player he's asked for. What was the other name? It's Marcus Force. Marcus Force. He's also at Middlesbrough. And we have Chuba Akpom. So Marcus Force is 26 years old. He's a forward. Hayden Hackney, midfielder or DM. And then we have Chuba Akpom, who's a little bit older, I'm guessing. And he's also played in the midfield. So let me just go check their scouting reports for this season. Sorry, guys. Bear with me for 1 second as I pull all of this up. Okay, Marcus Force hasn't played that many minutes, so we'll just look at the other two guys. Okay. What are you laughing at, Shaylin?
There's a comment in the chat that says, I hope Qatar starts playing game to buy Man United. And in my head, I just went, "You're hoping they have a copy of FC26?"
Yeah.
Right. I was like,
Yep. Lucky Singh is again. Ineos Glazers out. Sell Ugarte, Luke Shaw this window. They need to go. Yeah. And anyways, these are Hayden Hackney's numbers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Looks pretty good, right? This is for this season as well, like 2,200 minutes. So this is like valid.
I can confirm Ineos like the color green because it's usually the sign of money going up.
Yeah.
So
that's true. But volume passer looks like he's taking some chances with his pass completion being lower. Good shot creating actions. I mean, he's good at everything. Like this looks like Bruno. He looks like the championship Bruno, right? Yeah. And what's impressive here is he's doing some take-ons. He's doing progressive carries. He's also doing progressive passes. Like, geez, the whole team runs through this guy.
Yeah, and I don't think we can underrate some of these stats, right? Because the championship is a really physical league. So if he's got the ability to,
it ranks even above the Portuguese league. I'm pretty sure in like the world rankings, it's like the 6th best league or something.
Yeah.
So that makes sense. Even in terms of revenue, I think they make a lot of money.
Yeah.
I swear, if I was living in the UK, I would definitely get season tickets for at least one championship team. I know a few friends who I went to school with here who have like Queen's Park Rangers season tickets.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd love to go follow that. But yeah, so like I said, he's got good key passes, like all around the board. He's like pretty good. And
wait, can you pause it as defensive actions for a second?
Sure.
There's a stat that look at that, tackles in the attacking third. Bruno excels at this as well in defense. He doesn't do it almost anywhere else, but he really tries to win the ball up high. And it looks like this, Hayden Hackney also likes to do the same thing. So who knows? He's got a similar profile to him, whether or not he has.
Very similar. In fact, if we compared them, I'm sure we would see very similar numbers. But I've seen Bruno's numbers so many times, I don't even have to pull it up. Like this looks very much like Bruno's numbers,
Yeah.
So this is impressive. I mean, obviously, it's a big jump from whatever this league is, the championship to the Premier League. And then Chuba Akpom, he now plays for Ipswich. Interesting. But if we go back to
another candidate.
Wait, when did he actually play in the championship? Oh, must have been 22-23 right here. This is when he played for him at Middlesbrough. 3,000 minutes. Okay. All right. He was cooking. He was doing pretty well. So these are just examples of players that Carrick has improved. Hayden Hackney looks like a good one. We'll see what Ineos wants to do there. He's also comfortable trusting young players, so we probably see a lot out of. I think the interview for both Carrick and Ollie probably involved a lot of talking about Kobbie Mainoo and how we can get the best out of him. So
do you think that's because more they kind of just told them, hey, we're not investing this month at all?
I think their point is probably very much from a private equity business perspective that regardless of if he's good enough or not, we need to find out right now in the next 6 months. This is our time, and if we need to sell him, let's sell him.
Okay, so it's just understanding the value of the actual.
They don't care. They don't care about academy. They don't care about all that nonsense. They're looking at it from a very business perspective. Also, we need to realize, like, just because they're listening to Gary Neville and Paul Scholes, they're not listening to them on everything. They're listening to them about the wrong things, and then some good things they're not listening to them about, right? Like, I would agree. Like, we shouldn't just hang our hope on Kobbie Mainoo, because I would rather invest in Shea Lacey and the other guys, right? Like, every year we're getting 1 or 2 players from the academy. We will find somebody else that looks as good. Like every time somebody comes out, they're like, "Oh, generational talent. This guy's going to solve everything." And I'll keep admitting that the only player so far that's come out of our academy that I've genuinely felt like world-class potential is unfortunately Mason Greenwood, right? In terms of his footballing ability. But we know how that ended, and I don't want to revisit that again. But I haven't seen anybody else that's come out either before or after that's been at the level of Mason Greenwood. But anyway, so what else does he give you, right? He doesn't give you emotional whiplash week to week. He's going to be very calm in the press conferences. So I think Darren Fletcher probably gave us our very last exciting press conference before he's no longer the interim. But apparently Stephen Housen also said that Darren Fletcher is going to be part of his coaching staff.
Yeah, it looks like that's going to be one of the cases. It seems that there's Fletcher plus one other coach that is also coming on.
Yeah, they don't know who that
well.
is, but
yeah.
So Carrick's own words are, "You can't live game to game, or I'll be gray by February." So he's going to stay consistent, basically. So it matters in a broken dressing room, a fractured fan base, a season that's already drifting, right? These are good things for us. And also tactical coherence. So players will know where they stand and what their role is. It's not going to change week to week, and there's going to be fewer ideological experiments mid-season. So why he failed at Middlesbrough, I think this is an interesting conversation to have as we get towards the end of sort of this whole saga. At Middlesbrough, it was attractive football. It was strong possession numbers, but he failed to convert the possessional dominance into points. Apparently, his in-game substitutions were also criticized a little bit, and we saw a little bit tactical inflexibility from him as well. Now, I don't think this is like, I'm only going to play the back three and I'm not going to move. The Pope can't make me change, and all those spectacular comments we got from Ruben Amorim, but he was criticized for these things, and this is all fact, right? I'm pulling this out from a respectable journalist who wrote about his time at Middlesbrough. And so he was ultimately sacked after missing playoffs in back-to-back seasons, I believe, and the fan frustration was growing around him. I think he managed 136 games for Middlesbrough, and he had just under a 50% win rate. Again, in the championship, I think that's respectable. The first season he did much better than the subsequent seasons, but he wasn't able to get them back up to the Premier League. So I think Carrick will raise the floor on the team compared to where it is with Darren Fletcher. He hasn't yet proven that he can raise the ceiling beyond what Ruben Amorim did. Because listen, if we can go beat City or Arsenal, two teams that we didn't beat under Ruben Amorim, that will bode very well for Michael Carrick. And even the other, let's say we win one of those two games and we don't win the other one, but we don't get battered, I think that will also bode very well for Michael Carrick. Now, if we can go do the double over Liverpool and win at Old Trafford, that will be a big vote of confidence from even me. All right, I'll be like, okay, maybe this guy's got something. Because I think I've reassessed my expectations. I'm not getting sold down the river on Project 150 or Mission 21 or whatever other consultant names they want to come up with. For me, it's pretty clear, like, whoever the next guy is, if we're going to expect him to go win the league, he's going to fail. We just need somebody to come in and get us back into the top four, and then we can talk about the next guy to go win us the league, right? Like we honestly need someone like an Eddie Howe who came and did the job at Newcastle that we can probably do better than, because we just have more funds, right? We're not as FFP constrained. We're not as constrained by anything else. We have the funds. We can go do stuff.
It looks like one of the guys in the chat, Arlo Sunny, said that Carrick brought in his brother Graham as like the coach at Middlesbrough.
But that's not going to happen at United.
You don't think so?
No, it's not. It's like Stephen Housen was hinting that that's not going to happen.
Okay.
It's somebody else. It's not his brother. Yeah.
Okay. I think it's really interesting that so sometimes you see these coaching movements happen, right? I think we saw with Klopp, like Pep Lingers was a really key and crucial part to the way he played and operated. And then Pep Lingers starts to go out and do it himself, and then you see him spectacularly fail at that. This is after he wrote a whole book and stuff like that. I just kind of went, wow, like, what a pretentious like D-bag, right? He's like, oh, this is why we're so great. We're mentality monsters. And then tries to go implement it in real life, and then, finds out that the manager's job is actually much harder than just simply being a tactician.
I think it's the case of Fafo, right?
Yeah, for sure. But what I'm trying to say is that, Andy, do you believe at any point in time, like, if we had to give Carrick, let's say, a litmus test of, we feel like there's something here. I know you just mentioned it, hey, like, these are results, but they seem to me in my mind a little bit unrealistic, if I'm going to be honest, right? But something that's a true realistic litmus test, what would that be, Andy? Like in your perspective, what signals to you that Carrick is a good coach? It could be things that you see in game. It could be things that you see with the players. It could also even just be in the form of results, if that's what we're going to chalk it up to. But really curious to know.
I mean, since I don't have any, since you haven't placed any restraints on what characteristics I'm looking for, I'd say it's a combination of everything, right? I think I need to see from the eye test that he's able to put discipline into the players. I need to see from the stats that we're not just completely dropping off as a result on the XG. And ultimately, the results need to be there, right? If Carrick can do better than Ruben Amorim in the first 18 games of the season, how many games do we have left? Sorry. Sorry, my bad. We've played 21 games, so we have 17 games to go. 17 games into the season, I think we were third or fourth for expected points. If we can even be sixth in the next 17 games, I think that would be a huge,
Are you looking at them as an individual, like a concrete set of 17, or just in the aggregate as?
No, the back 17 that he will manage.
Okay. Just those.
The remaining 17 compared to the first 17 under Amorim. Yeah. If he can be like slightly worse than Amorim, that would be a huge vote of confidence, because Ruben Amorim has 6 years of coaching experience in Portugal, winning titles, doing a lot of these things. He's also dealt through. He's in fact helped Carrick in a way, to do what he's doing this season. Because I don't think, I don't know if Carrick could necessarily attract some of the names that we have brought to the club, right, in terms of Cunha and Bumo, because they chose us over a lot of other clubs, whereas Carrick is, you could argue, failed coach at Middlesbrough, like, depending on which way you want to look at it. So for me, I think if we can be, by the end of the season, the lowest I would look at is 8th, maybe. If we finish 8th, I would still be like, okay, he's done a decent job. And at best, I would expect him to do like 6th. Whereas Amorim, it was maybe 4th to 6th. It's probably 6th to 8th, considering how many points we've already dropped and it being so I think even that you could argue is an unrealistic expectation on Carrick, especially given that we've gone out of the FA Cup now, and there's no win the FA Cup and get the Europa League.
No, I know, but maybe I can offer you a counterpoint on that too, right? Like, we've gone out the FA Cup. This, the one thing we walked in as saying that this is going to be an advantage for us this season is we're going to be playing 1 game a week. We are now officially going to be playing 40 games. The first time since World War I in this club's storied history have we ever played 40 games, right? And so there's not going to be that much, I'll say, week to week. I think, we'll struggle a little bit to figure out what is that we're going to talk about, from a game to game basis. But because of this, I think that probably will allow Carrick to maybe have a little bit more influence on the training ground than maybe he had initially even expected. So it might be one of those, for the short term, kind of a little bit of a blessing that, we're not focused on wanting to push for a deep cup run, and that hyper focus on just the league is going to be everything, and that's going to tell us whether or not we're a worthy group of players or even a worthy enough squad. I think that might be to our benefit, to be fair.
Yeah. Chevy Tahoe 9913, great name, by the way, says this brother is a huge Amorim fan. Ruben Amorim is gone, and Buma wanted to come because of Man United. Cunha came because of Amorim. He even said it. Brother, there's plenty of people that have rejected us because of the manager we had at the time, right? You may not want to believe it, but players care, especially today. They care a lot about which manager is managing them and what's going to happen to their career, right? Because if you don't get the right vibe, Semenyo didn't come to us because he probably didn't get the right vibe from both United and Ruben Amorim, right?
Yes,
So
I think there's two parts to it, right? With the Semenyo thing, is the first one was, let's say he liked Ruben Amorim and he said, I think this guy can help me progress into the next step of my career. That could be true. But what you mentioned too was that, hey, like players care a lot about this. There's another side to it too, is that players also understand that there's a project that they're signing up for, and they need to be sold onto that idea of what is that project. And, and Bumo and Cunha were definitely sold on the idea of, hey, here's United's project for the next 3 to 4 years with respect to, or the 5 years with respect to the
wouldn't
contract.
Amorim be the main part of that project though?
He could be, yeah. But I think players and their agents are also understanding of the fact, and they're probably a little bit sharper on this too, that a manager isn't necessarily going to stay at the project unless their name is Mikel Arteta or Pep Guardiola, right? Like somebody who's already been in something long term, right? Which is kind of why we see this talent gravitate a lot towards the clubs like Brighton, like Brentford, and so on and so forth, because they look at it as like, hey, this is a club that develops players and puts them on a platform in the Premier League.
No, and they will sell those players as well, right? That's the thing they 100%. Have. Whereas United, as much as the badge and the social media fame that you get, it's also a lot more difficult to get out of United, because United is not a very good selling club, right? So a lot of people can look at it and say, if I go to United, they may not sell me. Look at Joshua Zirkzee, bro. He's lost like 2 years of his career. He doesn't play. And even now, when he came this close, right? Like, what do they say in Hindi? Muh se niwala chin liya, right? Which is like, basically, you're about to take a bite and somebody stole it from you.
Yeah.
And that's what's happened to him with his transfer out to Roma. Like, the clubs basically said, we sacked the manager. You're not going anywhere.
And I think it's a really crucial part, too, because what was the idea and project that Joshua Zirkzee was sold under Ten Hag and Ineos initially coming in, compared to what is it that he feels like he's in now, right? And with respect to the role that he has, right, as well, inside of the club, and maybe like whether or not he saw that expanding. And so these are things I think there's a lot of factors into the decision making of why a player even picks a club that they're there. But if you wanted to put into two big buckets, like hey, here's the manager that I play for, the one that I really respect, and then here's the idea of the club's vision in the long term and the project that it is that they're going to be there. And something so somebody put it in the chat too, right? Semenyo wanted to win. That's a totally valid reason for why Semenyo would have picked somebody else, because maybe he just felt like, hey, my career is not that much long. Right. And like, maybe I want to have a Premier League title or a Champions League trophy to my name. And I think the best place for me to do that would be at Manchester City, which is totally fine. So.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I'm just looking at Semenyo's salary, actually. I'm curious now, since he's joined City. Does it say what his salary? Okay, Capology doesn't have his salary updated yet, but I'm sure he at least 3x his salary, right? 250K minimum.
Yeah, for sure.
Is what he's making. And more than 3x in that case. But so listen, guys, Michael Carrick has pretty much been confirmed as the interim. We have lots of people joining us right here. We have over 250 people live. We have another announcement for interim at a different club, and that is Shaylin joining Footy with an Edge on an interim basis. As you guys know, I'm traveling to India day after tomorrow, and I will make the long 24-hour journey there, and I'll be there for about 19-20 days, and then make the long 24-hour journey back. In the meantime, Shaylin is going to help us with doing some live shows. It may not be every single day, but he's going to do his best to do go live every day as much as he can. And so you will be in very capable hands. I may not be awake or around for every single one of the shows that Shaylin does. I will try my best, because I think you said, what did you say, 9 p.m. Eastern time?
Yes, 9 Eastern. So for the folks that are watching just an hour before we went live today, it's probably what you can expect.
So what is that in Indian time? That's 7:30 in the morning. I will try my best. I think I should actually be up around that time, because I'm gonna be traveling a lot, going to like
I got my
weddings.
first Shaylin
Shaylin
out. Thanks, Big Guapo. Appreciate
Yeah.
it.
There's no way Semenyo makes 150K a week at City, bro. Come on, they're not paying him less money than Cherky. And Romed says, "Congrats, Shaylin." Susbeto9258 says, "Have you seen Tifo's sensible transfer recommendations for United? If yes, what are thoughts on their low budget recommendations?" Honestly, brother, I have not seen it. This is the first break I'm gonna get from from the channel, because if you guys have noticed, since I started doing the live streams, I haven't taken any days off. It's been like 2 months since I've taken a day off. So that's how much I love this community, man. And Raphael says, "Saint Shaylin." You know what's funny though? At least you got the congrats Shaylin before you got the Shaylin out, just by one comment.
I know. This is why Roberto's the best.
Roberto's our boy though. Roberto's got our back. So guys, yeah, I mean, all the regular panelists can still call in. All of you guys can still call in. Shaylin's gonna be here. Some days it might be a slightly shorter call instead of being an hour and a half, or how we do like the 2-hour marathons. It won't be that, but it's gonna be and hour to hour and a half. He's gonna do his best, and I will be calling in when I can. We'll get the other panelists to call in when I can. Roberto, you can't just be congrats, Shaylin. Okay, you got to also join on the call and help him out, because if he starts, if we get some off the rails panelists, he might need some help to come help out. Richard says, "Where's Rishi?" Rishi is currently probably sleeping, but I'm gonna be with Rishi in person, so I'm gonna try to do some shows every day, like here and there, but it might not be as regular because, one, I don't want my wife to kill me. Two, I don't want the rest of my family to kill me. And three, let's just be honest. I'm going there for a wedding. I need to be respectful to the bride and groom, right? I get it. Trust me, guys. My heart is here. Okay, even though I'm at this fancy wedding, my heart is with you guys, very truly. So whatever days you guys can be there, I'll message the regular panelists as well. I'll send everything out. Tomorrow, while I'm still here, Shaylin will be doing one of the streams. I won't be doing the 2 p.m. stream because we have to go drop our cat off at a friend's house and everything like that. We got a bunch of stuff to do, obviously, pack and everything. It's a long journey ahead. And Pengu Counter-Strike says, "To be honest, I'd rather have Carrick unretire and play CDM for us." Yeah, I hear you. Romed says, "Bring Rishi back with you for a fan get-together, in-person watch party for a game." Yeah, that's the dream, brother. That's the dream. And Shaylin's coming to Canada, aren't you, in February?
Yeah. It will be.
So we could do that. We could get Nelson to come down to Toronto.
Yeah.
Roberto's in Toronto as well. We got a couple other people. We could go. Marcus is here. Marcus Stevenson. And so we could get everybody together. So guys, no show tomorrow at 2 p.m., but there will be a 9 p.m. show with Shaylin where I will also be joining as a co-host. He will have all the controls, so he can decide if he wants to kick me out, and flex his power on the first day. I think that some of that Ineos money has gone to his head. I can already see it.
Yeah, but join the Discord. Like that's where I'll communicate a lot too to you guys as well, saying like,
yeah. So guys, the best thing you can do is join the Discord, because we communicate a lot of information there. But honestly, that is also going to be helpful to see when we're going live, when we're not, especially us. At least Shaylin will be live every day at 9 p.m. or he'll try. But for me, like, I might be live at really odd times. So if you guys, so make sure that you are on top of everything, go join the Discord. But yeah, guys, I think, Shaylin, any last thoughts on Michael Carrick and your appointment as the interim footy or the edge, whatever part of the name you want to take?
Listen, I've got the footy with an edge DNA, okay? I know we're all about stats. I know what we're about, wingers pressing high here. I get it. We got some controversial opinions and takes. That's totally fine too. So I believe that I'll do the club solid. I'll do the channel a solid while you're gone. And if I don't, then after this experiment, you might never hear from me again. Well, we'll see. We'll see where it goes. But until then, watch this space. watch this space.
No, if Shaylin screws it up, he's gifting 100 memberships. That's how we do it.
That's totally fine. Yeah. You guys can say it, and at the end of when Andy comes back, his first stream is there. We can do a poll. Did I do a good job?
Honestly, the bar is pretty low. As long as we don't get canceled as a channel, if I have a channel to come back to, I'm pretty happy with it. And I'm sure Shaylin will do great. I mean, you guys will also. George already says Shaylin needs to change the system. We got all the big. Yeah, we're not good enough, guys. He needs to change the system. Stop playing a back three. I'm the Ruben Amorim guy, right? So I guess that makes you Darren Fletcher. Or would you rather be Carrick?
I'd rather be Darren Fletcher. There's just something about him,
Oh yeah,
Scott. It feels good to have a Scott on the sideline. I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah. Anyways, guys, I'm so happy Shaylin's here to help us, man. I'm sure you guys will also love interacting with him every day. I'll be there in the streams, don't worry, because I'm a junkie for this stuff. Like I said, I haven't taken a day off in 2 months. I wouldn't be doing that unless I was enjoying this. So thank you guys so much for watching, man. I guess we're stuck with Carrick for the rest of the season. I actually hope it is the rest of the season because I don't want to see another manager getting sacked. Hopefully we don't. He says DNA. He calls you Dalen. Dalen, Nishi, and Andy back. Well, I'm the guy who gets the respect to not have my name changed. I guess A was already in there. But yeah. Anyways, guys, like I said, thank you for watching. Shaylin will be here for the first test stream tomorrow at 9 p.m. And we will all be there live to support Shaylin through this difficult time in his life. And hopefully he enjoys it as much as just being a panelist as well. See you guys later. Thank you. Peace.
Thanks. Bye.